Today I'm going to share with you my easiest, most delicious go-to tofu recipes. Now, my very first experience with tofu was not great. In fact, I remember cooking it and my friend tried it and literally gagged it out into the garbage can. But that's not gonna happen with you because you have these recipes that I'm about to share. You may have purchased your very first box of tofu and may be thinking, what am I gonna make with this? And I'm kind of scared. Well, the best way to ease into eating more tofu is not the typical square cut tofu recipes. Those take some time to adjust to. So today we're making unconventional, delicious, and yummy recipes made with tofu. Let's go. Do you wanna know what recipe I cook more than anything else? The one recipe that my kids constantly ask me to make. It is white pasta, or basically an Alfredo pasta, but made with tofu. My kids love it, and we literally make it a couple times a week. Let's start by boiling some whole wheat pasta. Any type of pasta works. While that's boiling, let's make the sauce. The cool thing about this recipe is any type of tofu works. I've tried them all. You can use silken tofu, you can use soft tofu, or an extra firm tofu. It all works. So I'm going to use this extra firm tofu, and we just add it to a blender. And I've already rinsed most of it. Then you'll add 2 cloves garlic. Now, I actually don't have any garlic in my house right now, so I'm using some garlic powder. Still works. Here's how it tastes so good is the 2 teaspoons of veggie bouillon paste. You can also just use veggie bouillon cubes, but this is 2 teaspoons. You can get it from Walmart or from Costco. Now, to help thicken up this sauce, it calls for 2 tablespoons of nuts, usually raw cashews. I'm gonna use Brazil nuts today just because the selenium is so good for my kids and it's easier, I just have them on hand, but you can use any type of nuts just to kind of thicken that up. Then we'll add 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast. This is the non-dairy cheese flavor that we're using. And then let's add the spices, which makes this so good. So 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary, 1/2 teaspoon of marjoram, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, and then 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. This is what makes it so yummy. Just the depth of flavor is incredible. We'll finish this off with a teaspoon of salt, and then we'll take a cup of water from this pasta. Now you can also use a cup of unsweetened almond milk instead. Either one works. The nice thing about using the pasta water is that the sauce will be nice and warm. All right, let's blend it up. Perfect and creamy. Time to drain the pasta. Then we add the sauce. Now you can add all of it, you can save some of it for later, it just depends on you. Usually this sauce is good for even 2 packages of noodles. I like it really saucy, so I'll just use 1 package. This sauce is also awesome on top of potatoes. So sometimes I will I'll reserve some of the sauce for some potatoes later on. It is so good, look at that, so yummy. Now I love that my kids love this dish because tofu is a great source of protein and calcium and iron. But even better if you can pair your tofu dishes with some vitamin C so that your body can absorb the calcium and the iron a lot easier. So make sure to add some fruit and add some veggies to this pasta and enjoy. It's so good. Seriously, we make this on repeat. Now you can use crumbled tofu in any recipe. You can use that in your tacos. You can use it, add in some beans and add it to a chili. But today I wanna show you an unconventional way that is absolutely delicious. And that is in sushi. In sushi, yes, you can use crumbled tofu in sushi. Adds a little bit more flavor with all the other veggies, the vegetarian sushi, obviously. But it is so good, and I wanna show you how easy it is to put together. If you've never tried making tofu before, I always suggest making crumbled tofu first before you make the squared tofu. It's super simple and super yummy. Let me show you how. You'll want to use firm or extra firm tofu for this. This is extra firm, which is great because then it's just easy to crumble it up. You don't want it to turn into, like silken tofu will turn into a cream if you crumble, so you want it to be firm. This should resemble ground beef at the end. Now tofu has no flavor, so we need to add in the flavor. So I like to add a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of onion powder, and then 1/4 cup of soy sauce, which is actually just 4 tablespoons if you didn't know that. Then to balance out all that sauce, I like to add about a tablespoon of maple syrup as well. if your kids didn't use it all for breakfast. We'll mix all of that together so it's nice and even. Next, we'll spread out all of this tofu onto my air fryer, nice and evenly. And then we want to cook it until it's crispy. So if you have it in the oven, it's gonna be about 425. In the air fryer, we're gonna cook it at 400 for 10 minutes and then we'll check on it. So while the tofu is cooking, let's make the veggies. I'll dice up some cucumbers. I have a sweet potato that's already cooked here, and then peppers and avocado. All right, veggies are chopped and ready to go. Avocado, peppers, cucumbers, and sweet potato. All right, the tofu is ready. Look at that, perfect, perfect. Even crunchy on the sides there, that's awesome. Tofu kind of tastes like a chicken nugget. While the tofu was cooking, I also cooked up some rice. So we have some nori, which you can find in the grocery store, just in the Asian aisle. So you'll take out your nori, and it's the shiny side goes down. Then we'll cover it with rice, leaving a little bit of the end open, just so that we can kind of shut it. This will also help to kind of warm up the nori so it's a lot more flexible. The rice kind of tends to heat it up a little bit. Then we add tofu, which gives some flavor to it. And then we have some sweet potato. We'll do cucumber, avocado, and red bell pepper. Just kind of bring it all in there. Okay, so now it's time to roll it up. So we want it to be super tight. I don't have a sushi roll with me right now. I've purchased one in the past, I don't know where I put it. But you can totally use a sushi roll, which will help make this nice and tight, or just use your hands. It's not necessary. You can see it kind of ripped, but that's okay. Now, I like to wet the edges a little bit, but I feel like this rice is making it sticky enough that I don't need to. Sometimes you can just wet down the edges. Now, the trick is on this part is you wanna make sure that your knife is very sharp, or else it's gonna destroy cutting that sushi. There we go. Look how beautiful that is. Let's make a couple more. Now, I am by no means a professional here, but if I can do this, then you can do this. Again, you wanna make sure you have a good knife. Here are my perfectly imperfect vegan sushi rolls, and they are so good. Now, these are really good when you dip them in soy sauce. If you have wasabi sauce too, it's so yummy. So any way you like your sushi, that's how you wanna eat these. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you that I made sushi?
Like 10.
Like a 10?
10.
Let's make my favorite tofu-based dessert, a Pina Colada Parfait. Now, the secret to this recipe is coconut extract, and I got this on Amazon. This is what makes it taste coconutty. If you don't have it, that's okay. It'll just have more of a faint coconut taste. You'll add 1 package of firm tofu to your blender. This can be super firm or firm. Next, you'll add 1/2 cup of coconut milk. There's a couple different ways you can get the coconut milk, just like the coconut milk from like a milk jug or the coconut milk from a can. Whatever you have, lower fat option will be the coconut milk from a jug. Then you'll add 1/4 cup of sweetener of choice. Now this is just sugar, but you can do maple syrup or any type of sweetener. My kids ate all my maple syrup for breakfast this morning. And then here's the secret sauce. This is 1 teaspoon of coconut extract. And then we blend it all. Next, you'll wanna chop up your pineapple. Now you can choose to toast your shredded coconut or just use it as is. It's a little more yummy if it's toasted. Now this creamy Pina Colada Parfait will get thicker if you keep it in the fridge. So it's something to keep in mind. So it's a little bit more runny. If you want it thicker, then just put it in the fridge and it will thicken over time. Then we'll add some toasted coconut. Yum. And we'll top this off with some pineapple. Here is your creamy Pina Colada Parfait. So yummy. Remember how I told you that tofu is high in iron and calcium, but you need to pair it with vitamin C so that your body can absorb it? Well, that's what pineapple is full of, vitamin C. So this is the perfect treat that's high in protein, that will keep you satisfied, and will also satisfy that sweet tooth. It's so good, especially if you're like me and love coconut. This is so good. Oh my gosh, the toasted coconut. Oh my gosh, this is heavenly. I love to keep this in the fridge so I can just snack on it once a day for like 2 weeks. There's a party in my mouth. I feel like I'm on a beach. This is amazing, amazing, so good. I mean, why be afraid of tofu when you can have this? Like, this really is so good. Hopefully I've sold you on how easy and simple it is to make tofu-based recipes. So make sure you try these and go ahead and check out some of my other recipes where I show you how easy and delicious it can be to add more plants to your diet. Really good.